Hey everybody, today we are going to be working on our Value Pumpkins project. So I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to draw a pumpkin and also shade it so that it looks three-dimensional. So for this project, you definitely need a piece of paper and a pencil and an eraser. If you have other art supplies, you're more than welcome to use them. For example, this would be a really great project to do with colored pencils or with crayons or paint. This is not a good project to use markers for because markers are really hard to shade with and create different shades of the same color. So I recommend not using markers and sticking to either a pencil, colored pencils, crayons, pastels, or some kind of paint, okay? I'm gonna start with a pencil and then I might switch to a colored pencil. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna turn your paper sideways, just like this. And remember, you're gonna draw light until you get it right. I'm drawing dark only because it's easier to see on the camera. You should be drawing very light. So once your paper is sideways, in the middle of your paper, you're gonna draw a big, skinny oval or an elliptical, a big, pretty skinny oval. Make sure it doesn't cover the whole page, but it covers a good amount. This is going to be the front of our pumpkin, the first ridge of our pumpkin, okay? So get a nice oval shape. You might have to go over it a couple times, maybe even erase a couple lines, until you get the exact shape that you want, just like this, okay? So from here, we're gonna build our pumpkin all the way around. So starting towards the top of your pumpkin, you're gonna draw an arching shape that goes parallel to this arch. So a little curve at the top, and arch your pumpkin all the way down, and just before you get to the bottom right here, you're gonna curve it again so it's just a little bit shorter than your first oval, okay? And everything you do to this side, we do to the other side as well. So come over this side, create a nice little arch, all the way down, just before you get to the bottom. Connect them with another curve. Okay, so now you can see I've got, this could be like a really, really skinny pumpkin, but this, I'm gonna keep going and making my pumpkin a little rounder. So I'm starting up at the top again, creating another arch, another ridge that goes all the way down parallel to the last arch I made. And just before I get to the bottom there, I'm gonna make another little curve. Same thing. Everything we do to one side, we do to the other. We gotta be fair, right? Arch and curve, okay? Oh, I think I could do a couple more. So another arch, all the way down, and curve, another arch, all the way down, and curve. Notice that it's getting shorter each time I go over, right? And then maybe one little more. This would be a really short one. That just goes about halfway. Well, actually, I don't really like that. We'll leave that. We'll see if we need it later. Okay, so you notice we've got a blank space there, and if you've ever seen a pumpkin, you'll know that what goes there, it's the stem. So we're just gonna kind of make a nice little stemmy shape. Stems are pretty curved, and they usually have been torn or cut, so they've got a bit of a jagged end, right? Sometimes they have a little like swirl, like a vine. Sometimes they've got leaves. Feel free to like get creative there. Whatever kind of stem you want your pumpkin to have is totally fine. Okay, so now that we've got the basic shape of our pumpkin, we're gonna start shading. So it's important to remember that the middle of your oval, of your first elliptical, is gonna be the lightest part of your pumpkin. So you can go ahead and start adding with a medium pencil mark, kind of some hashtags all the way around. Darkest from the sides, getting lighter as you go in. All the way around, nice short little strokes. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna pause it and show you once I've finished. Okay, so I've done the first part of my pumpkin and I've smudged a bit so that it's nice and smooth. So now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna shade the other sides of my pumpkin. So the same things. I'm gonna make sure you keep that nice ridge line. So keep a difference in value between the ridges. And we're going in and just coloring the pumpkin, one ridge at a time. Dark to light, dark to light, all the way around. See, just like that. And over here, the same thing. Dark to light. Try to make it parallel on both sides. Make it mirror each other on both sides. And sometimes it helps to kind of turn your paper to get those nice curve marks that you need. Remember, we're using the hatching technique. Now, go back in and fill in where those arches are if you've lost them. Really dark. Outline those arches. If you're using color, it'll be a little bit easier to keep those. Cleaning up the edges a little bit. And don't forget to shade your stem. Get some texture. Probably darkest where it meets the pumpkin and lighter as you get higher. Just like that. And then you're starting to get a nice little pumpkin. You can kind of smooth, smudge just a little bit if you want kind of smoother edges. Totally optional. A nice pumpkin, all right? Okay, so now that we've got our pumpkin, you need to find the horizon line. Remember, the horizon line is where the sky meets the land. So make sure your horizon line is not up here, otherwise your pumpkin will be floating in space. And start to draw some shadow for your pumpkin. I'm making my shadow on the left-hand side. Blending. And then a little cast shadow on the side. Put the big shadow on the left. And smudge that through if you want, if your lines aren't super neat. And from here, add something interesting. So if you want to add, I've got a lot of blank space, so I need to kind of fill this up. So if I want to add maybe like another pumpkin right here, a pumpkin in front, or maybe a pumpkin over here, I think I'm going to add kind of like some swirlies, like a night sky, so that my pumpkin's nice and gray, and then I've got these like really pretty swirls. So I'm gonna add in a background color. That's what I'm gonna do to like fill it up a bit. So just a second and I'll show you. Okay, so you can see that I have gone in and kind of filled up that blank space that I had. So I used color to kind of make a background so that my black and white pumpkins really pop. And then I added another little pumpkin kind of coming off the page. And now I'm just coloring in my ground so it's nice and gray, so there's no white space. This is really key. So it's your choice, artist choice, what you want to do. If you want to add more pumpkins, if you want to make a ghost maybe, if you want to make some kind of textured background. Remember our line landscapes use some kind of like funky lines. Whatever you want, but you need to fill up the white space. I should not see a lot of white. You can't just have one pumpkin and nothing else. You need to fill it up so that it's a whole composition, a whole artwork. Fill up the whole page, okay? So your choice, however you want to do that. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but I need to see at least one pumpkin, the horizon line where the sky meets the land, your pumpkin nice and shaded, whether you used color or pencil, and shaded with different levels. So just not an all orange pumpkin, a light orange, dark orange, creating value and filling up the whole space with other things going on. If you want to do a little zombie over here, if you want to do some swirls, make it look like kind of psychedelic, that's cool. Whatever you want, but fill up the space, okay? Great. Can't wait to see what you guys make.